The Young and the Restless spoilers shock Thursday's update full August 20th, 2025. The world of The Young and the Restless is no stranger to drama, unexpected turns, and the delicate dance between love and betrayal, and the most recent developments surrounding Jack, Diane, Holden, Daniel, and Kane are no exception. What first appeared to be a tender attempt by Diane to rekindle passion and bring a sense of warmth back into her life with Jack quickly transforms into a storyline that threads romance with unease, joy with suspicion, and quiet intimacy with the looming shadow of manipulation. The pictures released in advance of the upcoming episodes tease a story that stretches far beyond a simple lover's getaway, pulling viewers once again into the web of intrigue that Genoa City has perfected for decades. Diane's decision to orchestrate a romantic escape for Jack was, at its core, an effort to heal, to remind them both of the bond they had painstakingly fought to preserve despite relentless external attacks and internal doubts. Earlier in the summer, they had tried to carve out such a moment, a chance to simply exist together away from chaos, but that attempt had ended in nightmare fashion when the sprawling estate of Aristotle Dumas, which Kane Ashby had brought them into, turned into a prison-like labyrinth, their would-be retreat derailed by danger and the cruel irony of being held hostage in a place meant for leisure. That memory has not left them, and in many ways, Diane's new plan is an attempt to rewrite that painful chapter, to prove that the romantic vision she holds for them can be realized even if it is not in Paris or Tuscany but within the walls of their own home. The photos hint at the theme Diane has chosen, and her meticulous attention to detail is unmistakable. Italian flags appear in the background, a deliberate touch meant to transport Jack into an atmosphere of Mediterranean escape. Perhaps France had lingered too strongly in her imagination after their aborted summer journey, reminding her too much of what they lost, so Italy became her muse instead, a nation of passion, art, and resilience. By transforming their residence into a little piece of Rome or Florence, Diane is not simply decorating, she is rewriting history, asserting her control over the narrative of their love. Yet, as with every storyline in Genoa City, even the softest gestures hide sharp edges, and what begins as a candlelit dream carries undertones of something heavier. Jack, seasoned as he is by years of betrayals, rivalries, and hard-earned victories, is likely to embrace the gesture with both gratitude and caution. He knows too well that romance in his world is rarely left untouched by tension, and the echoes of Dumas' estate still ring in his memory. Meanwhile, the release of another pivotal image turns the spotlight toward a very different kind of encounter, one simmering not with affection but with latent conflict. Holden and Daniel appear together, not in the sweeping romantic context of Jack and Diane but in the quiet tension of shared space and unresolved questions. They sit close enough to suggest conversation but their postures, their gazes, the energy between them hints at friction. Perhaps it begins with a drink, a casual gesture toward civility, yet the preview suggests something darker brews beneath the surface. In the weekly video teaser, Holden is heard questioning Daniel, his words sharp with suspicion, asking whether Kane had been the one to plant the seed for whatever actions Daniel is accused of. The question is not mere curiosity, it is an accusation, a suggestion that Daniel's choices are not his own but manipulated, orchestrated, perhaps coerced by Kane Ashby. This raises a storm of speculation about Kane's role in the larger web. Kane has always been a man whose choices waver between integrity and ambition, a character who thrives in the gray areas of morality, and so the implication that he could be driving Daniel's behavior strikes with credible force. Is Kane playing puppet master once again, using Daniel as a piece in a larger scheme against Jack, against the Abbotts, or even against the Newmans? Or is Holden's suspicion born out of his own entanglement with Kane, projecting fears of manipulation onto a man who may simply be making his own flawed choices? For Daniel, the suggestion that he is being used cuts deep. His path in Genoa City has been one of struggle, redemption, and relapse into old patterns of weakness and doubt. To have Holden confront him so bluntly forces Daniel to reckon not only with the perception others have of him but with the uncomfortable question of his own agency. Has he truly acted of his own free will, or has Kane's influence seeped into his decisions, whether directly or indirectly? The mere hint of Kane's name adds fuel to the storyline, pulling him into a conflict that might expose hidden alliances, whispered conversations, and plans that stretch beyond the visible frame. What makes these parallel threads so compelling is the contrast between them. On one side, Jack and Diane attempt to build intimacy within the safe cocoon of their home, translating Italy into silk tablecloths, candlelit dinners, and carefully chosen wines. On the other side, Holden and Daniel sit across from each other, perhaps clinking glasses in formality, yet their dialogue carries daggers. It is a duality that soap operas thrive on, the romance of stability threatened by the chaos of conspiracy, the sweetness of love overshadowed by the bitterness of mistrust. And viewers, ever perceptive, know too well that in Genoa City, no storyline remains isolated. The suspicion Holden harbors toward Daniel will inevitably bleed into the world of Jack and Diane, whether through Kane's direct interference or through a ripple effect of mistrust that spreads across the city's power players. Diane's Italian fantasy may crumble if Jack learns that beyond their walls, moves are being made that jeopardize not only their peace but their future. Holden, in his confrontation with Daniel, may uncover more than he intended, perhaps secrets Kane has kept buried, or perhaps truths about Daniel that paint him as far more culpable than suspected. The question of whether Kane orchestrated Daniel's actions is not a simple one, and therein lies the brilliance of the arc. It forces viewers to question motives, to analyze gestures, to look at every seemingly casual encounter as a potential setup for betrayal. As Jack and Diane share their private toast under the glow of Italian decor, Holden and Daniel mirror them with their own drinks, but the tone could not be more different, romance on one side, accusation on the other. Both scenes, though, are bound by a fragile uncertainty. Neither couple truly knows whether the moment they are sharing is genuine or a prelude to chaos. This tension is the lifeblood of the young and the restless, and it ensures that fans will tune in not just for answers but for the thrill of watching questions evolve, alliances shift, and love and suspicion intertwine in the most unexpected ways. The latest developments in The Young and the Restless set the stage for a series of emotional collisions, layered temptations, and subtle betrayals that promise to shake Genoa City in ways that are as intimate as they are explosive. On the surface, the storylines branch in different directions. Jack and Diane chasing romance against a backdrop of Italian elegance, Holden and Daniel navigating an uneasy but revealing conversation, Daniel's growing feelings for Tessa threatening to erupt into action, and Audra making yet another move in her calculated dance around Kyle. Yet beneath all these threads lies the central pulse of the soap, the human need for connection, the dangerous thrill of desire, and the inevitable cost of choices made in the heat of the moment. The story begins in relative sweetness, with Diane continuing her determined quest to carve out a space for love and stability with Jack. After the debacle at Aristotle Dumas' estate earlier in the summer, an ordeal that turned what should have been a romantic retreat into a hostage nightmare, the couple has been struggling to reclaim their sense of intimacy. Diane's latest effort is nothing short of symbolic, as she transforms their home into a romantic escape styled after Italy. The flags in the background of the preview photos are more than set decorations, they represent her attempt to restore what was stolen from them, to create a fantasy of escape without ever leaving Genoa City. Jack, wary yet grateful, allows himself to be drawn into her world of candlelight and Mediterranean charm, knowing that any time spent together without external chaos is worth treasuring. But even as this couple indulges in their Italian-inspired romance, the world around them refuses to remain still. Elsewhere, a far more delicate moment unfolds between Holden and Daniel. At first glance, their shared space could easily dissolve into confrontation. After all, Holden openly questions Daniel in the teaser about whether Kane had pushed him towards certain actions, a question that stings like an accusation. Yet, if the men manage to step past suspicion and hostility, they may find something unexpected, common ground. Beneath the tension lies the possibility of understanding, for both Holden and Daniel are haunted by unfulfilled longing, consumed by desires for women who remain, at least for now, out of reach. Holden's heart is wrapped tightly around Claire, the enigmatic figure who has captured his imagination despite her entanglements elsewhere. Daniel, meanwhile, finds himself drawn more and more irresistibly to Tessa, despite knowing that the timing and circumstances make any move toward her dangerous. This parallel sets the stage for an unlikely kinship. Both men need a confidant, someone who can understand the gnawing hunger of loving someone they cannot have. In their fragile honesty, they could even forge the beginnings of a friendship, a rarity in Genoa City, where alliances are often transactional and friendships so often crumble under the weight of secrets. But temptation does not wait politely in the background, it pushes forward, demanding attention. Daniel's interactions with Tessa are taking on a sharper edge of intimacy, his attraction deepening into something he can no longer easily disguise. The teasers suggest that his desire for her could reach its breaking point in the midweek broadcast, with hints of a moment charged enough to suggest a kiss or a confession. For Daniel, this would not be a casual slip, it would be an act of emotional revelation, a declaration that his attraction to Tessa is not fleeting but rooted in something dangerously real. That prospect alone threatens to destabilize not only Daniel's world but Tessa's, forcing her into a space where choices must be made, where feelings must be confronted. Whether or not Daniel follows through with action, the internal war he faces is already shifting his trajectory, drawing him further into the orbit of temptation and away from the safety of restraint. This struggle is central to Daniel's arc. He is no stranger to mistakes, nor to the painful consequences of acting on impulse, yet his attraction to Tessa feels different, charged with an authenticity that leaves him rattled. Their moments together are increasingly intimate, small exchanges loaded with meaning, and every brush of closeness threatens to ignite into something more. Daniel's problem is not simply the temptation itself but the intensity of it, the sense that he could lose control at any moment. This raises the stakes dramatically, for a kiss or confession could not be undone, it would forever alter not only his relationship with Tessa but the perception others hold of him. And yet, the risk itself fuels the temptation. Daniel is caught in the classic soap dilemma, knowing that what he wants could destroy him, but unable to resist the pull toward it. In the midst of these swirling tensions, Holden remains a mirror to Daniel. His longing for Claire is less immediately combustible but no less consuming. Claire, with her ties to the Newman family and her own complicated emotional entanglements, is hardly a woman Holden can reach for without consequence. Yet the yearning gnaws at him, and in Daniel he sees not only a man accused but a man who understands. Their shared isolation in love could bond them, creating a relationship that is as supportive as it is volatile, for two men in pain do not always lift each other up, they can just as easily lead one another further into reckless choices. The outcome of their tentative camaraderie remains uncertain, and that uncertainty is what makes it riveting. Meanwhile, Genoa City is never short on schemers, and Audra is once again positioning herself at the center of unfolding drama. Her focus this time is Kyle, and as ever, she approaches the situation with the calculated precision of a woman who knows how to twist tension to her advantage. The teasers suggest she will attempt to spin the drama to her benefit, reshaping narratives, redirecting suspicions, and ensuring that whatever fallout emerges, she lands on her feet. Audra thrives on chaos, and Kyle, with his vulnerability and shifting loyalties, makes a perfect target for her brand of manipulation. Whether she intends to reel him back into her orbit romantically, or simply use him as leverage in a larger play, her involvement guarantees that the already volatile dynamics in Genoa City will not settle quietly. What ties these disparate threads together is the inevitability of collision. Jack and Diane may find comfort in their Italian fantasy, but the ripple effect of Kane's shadow, Holden's suspicion, Daniel's temptation, and Audra's scheming ensures that peace will be fleeting. Holden and Daniel's fragile rapport may buy them both a measure of comfort, but it also sets the stage for dangerous honesty that could shatter relationships around them. Daniel's struggle with his feelings for Tessa is a storyline poised to escalate, leaving viewers on edge to see whether he will surrender to impulse or find the strength to resist. And Audra, ever the opportunist, will only push the pressure higher, her maneuvers threatening to unravel careful plans and ignite rivalries anew. In true Young and the Restless fashion, what seems like small, personal choices, a romantic dinner at home, a drink shared between two men, a moment of temptation, a casual remark, are in fact dominoes waiting to fall. Each action carries consequences that stretch far beyond the immediate players, and by the time the dust settles, Genoa City may once again be transformed by the decisions made in the heat of desire and suspicion. For viewers, the draw lies not only in the answers but in the anticipation, the knowledge that love and betrayal, honesty and deception, friendship and rivalry, are forever intertwined in a city that never allows its residents a moment of peace.